it. First up tonight, Congressman Doug Collins. Congressman, thank you very much for being here this evening.
Martha, glad to be with you.
What about the tenor of the questions from Republicans? What's the strategy? And do you expect that with these coming witnesses, it will change at all?
Well, I think you're going to see a continued attack on the substance and a continued attack on the fact that there was nothing that was wrong. There was nothing improper. There was nothing that the president did that was by far wrong or definitely impeachable. What was really interesting here is I'm beginning to wonder what are the witnesses actually in this for? I mean, when you look at one becoming, as you said in your opening, becoming famous on this. When you work in the State Department,
you don't think Ambassador Yovanovitch did this to be famous, do you?
No, I don't. I think what's happening is there's becoming this movement around these hearings, and those who are so desperately wanting to get this president, so desperately wanting to find something wrong, that they're willing to just build this narrative around what superheroes. Think about how they're being portrayed as these patriots, and people come forward, and if anybody steps forward and says anything
about Collins, that's exactly what I'm asking you, because I hear some rumblings among some on your side of the aisle who are dissatisfied that these folks are not being pushed a little bit harder about their policy differences with the president. And, you know, they always talk about the deep state and they're all part of it. So it might be good to hear at least a few questions that might answer that to some extent. No?
Well, I think that's what you're seeing. I think these questions are being asked, but they're not being asked in a way that everybody gets the headlines on. I mean, but what the questions are being asked are, was anything, even to the ambassador the other day, was anything that was done illegal? No. I mean, how much more could a bombshell could you have from a party who is wanting to impeach the president saying he did something illegal with a very ambassador?
Yeah, but we know it's not a legal or illegal question. It's a political question, right?
If you want to go into that, then we got a bigger problem. Then we got a bigger problem here, Martha, because again, this is what the founding fathers actually warned us against, was a political impeachment in which you just go after them because you don't like them or because you don't like their politics. This is a problem we have to face, and American people need to see this clearly for what it is. We can ask questions however we want to, but Adam Schiff is controlling this narrative because he wants one side out. Now, look, this thing is not over. We're going to continue to see a lot of witnesses this week. We're going to see a lot of them who are going to be interesting in some contradictions and seeing the fact that what was happening here in the focus of what the president did. Let's get this back to what the president did, not the theatrics around it. If he wants to remove somebody, he can. It's his job. He can remove an ambassador whenever he wants to. He can have differences of opinion with his own State Department or even his own Defense Department.
Well, that's why I'm asking, you know, why there weren't questions about, you know, how she was carrying out the policy, what kind of corruption was she successful at stopping? Were there reasons, legitimate reasons? I have a question, you know, as a person who watches this whole thing, as to what she would say about that. So Colonel Vindman, Byron York wrote a piece on this saying that he thinks Democrats might not get the witness that they expect here, and that in the transcript he spoke with a lot of his transcript testimony was filled with opinion, impressions. He had little new to offer on who withheld important information from the committee, and that he seemed to, you know, be somewhat disgruntled and dissatisfied in a number of ways. Do you think that he will be asked about that?
Well, I think there's probably going to be asked about that, but how many of these folks that we've actually listened to had firsthand knowledge of this? And even the ones that did have firsthand knowledge, they have said that nothing was wrong on the call. And then when Vindman, who had firsthand knowledge, actually gave suggestions on the transcript that came out, his actual superior, Mr. Morrison, actually took his suggestions. So again, what you're seeing here is a backlash from those who don't like the policy. And I think that is a valid point of view to bring out. I think it is valid to say these people disagreed with the president in their role as policymakers. And this is a part that has become the very frustrating part, because the Democrats would have you to believe there's illegality here. There is something done wrong. The president was bad in what he did. And that's not what happened. What they're having a problem with is how he went about what he was supposed to do and not doing what they said he would do, and that was a quid pro quo for aid to the Ukraine. This is just a problem in a show because they hate this president. Get that through our heads quickly.
Congressman Collins, thank you very much. We'll be watching tomorrow. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thanks, Martha.